YouTube, how's it going? Flag1122 back again. It's been a week, I know. Took a little hiatus from making videos. I've been a little bit busy lately. Summer's heating up. Smoking one of my larger pipes today. This is one of my, it's called Giant Colossal. Didn't ever learn much about this pipe. I know it's made in France, Algerian briar. Picked it up as an estate. Wasn't very expensive, but pretty nice smoker. It's kind of a squat tomato sitter there, so it's a pretty cool pipe. Like it a lot. Ended up smoking some anniversary cake by Hearth and Home. Got this at Romeo's Uptown Pipes and Tobacco. Hope you enjoyed my little tour video that I did last time. Frank's a great guy. Anywho, I'm here to do another movie review. Haven't been to a movie in a couple of weeks. Last one was Star Trek. Hasn't been a lot there that I've been interested in. Summertime is great, but you get a little burn out of these big action movies. But you know what? I had to go see the new Superman movie. I'm not a massive Superman fan. I've always been more of a Marvel superheroes kind of guy as opposed to DC, although I like Batman. When I first heard about the movie and heard who was directing it, I wasn't that excited. Zack Snyder is the director of this movie, and while I like the Watchmen movie that he directed, it's based on a comic book too, the Watchmen graphic novel. It's a fantastic graphic novel. I wasn't a huge fan of his previous movie, 300. It was just all visual and no story to me. Nothing you could relate to really in 300. So I wasn't, a fan of him as a director, but I was a fan of Christopher Nolan, and am a fan of Christopher Nolan, and he produced the film, and David S. Goyer wrote the screenplay to Man of Steel, which is the new Superman movie. So I was like, well, I like the new Batman movies, The Dark Knight, and Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, and The Dark Knight Rises, so I'll give this new Superman movie a go. And as the trailers started coming out, I got more and more excited, and I just got through watching it this afternoon. I took my nieces and nephews to see it. And this is a big, long, sort of juicy summer movie for you to sink your teeth into. It's 2.5 hours long. It stars Henry Cavill as Kal-El, or if you like, Clark Kent, his earthly persona. It also stars Michael Shannon as General Zod, and I'm a big fan of Michael Shannon. I talk about him all the time. He was in the movie Mud and in the movie Take Shelter. It stars Lawrence Fishburne as Perry White, Amy Adams as Lois Lane, and it's just a huge big bunch of characters out there. Kevin Costner's in it as Jonathan Kent, Diane Lane as Martha Kent, so just a huge cast of big name actors in this, and some of them are really talented and some of them aren't so talented. I was really worried about, though, getting another origin story. I mean, who does not know where Superman comes from? Maybe people in, like, Siberia or, like, I don't know, somewhere way out in the middle of nowhere might not know the origin of Superman, but I was really upset and worried that we're going to get another, like, hour origin and then we don't really get to see much of Superman at all. You don't really get that with this movie. You do get flashes back of his time as Clark Kent in Smallville, and but it doesn't focus on that. The movie opens in Krypton, and this is really the first time we've seen Krypton like this on film. If you're a fan of the Smallville TV show, which is a really cool TV show, if you haven't seen that, I urge you to check it out. You get to see a little of Krypton on that show. This is the first time we really get to see a lot of Krypton on the big screen, and I kind of like what they did there. visuals are kind of striking, although it does share a lot of similarities to, I think, the Matrix movies. Lawrence Fishburne is in this movie, so we get to see Morpheus, so another Matrix connection there. And Russell Crowe plays Jor-El, Kal-El, Clark's real father. So he does an admirable job in that role. You know, he's not usually, Russell Crowe's not usually a really subdued actor, but I think he brings a nice level performance in this. And you do get a little bit more backstory, like I said, about Krypton and about the destruction of Krypton and about the rebellion on Krypton and General Zod's forces going against the Krypton's present-day leaders. And you see, you know, really more interaction between Clark's, Superman's parents and, you know, and the baby, so that you get to understand really why they sent him to Earth and what their hopes and dreams for him were. Then you meet, you know, catch up with Clark on planet Earth 33 years after he crashes Kansas cornfield. He's doing odd jobs and working as a grunt, working as a research scientist, working in a diner. So you get to see him kind of slumming it. I'm not going to give any spoilers to this movie. The movie is very action-packed. Fantastic special effects. Hans Zimmer does the score. He did the score for the previous Batman movies, the trilogy. He's always a great composer. One thing you do see in this movie is a lot of carnage-inducing action. After the first 40 minutes of the movie go by, it's just boom, 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 non-stop action. And there are some really, really beautiful special effects that just blow you away. It makes you feel like you're flying with Superman. And I really like what they do with Superman when he's flying. He has these like sonic booms that occur, and the faster that he goes, the more sonic booms like kind of explode, and it's really cool. And I hadn't seen that before. It makes you want to be Superman, doesn't it? Really, I know the reviews on this movie has been mixed, and here's the deal with Superman. You know, nobody is ever satisfied with the franchise these days. They made the Superman Returns about 6-7 years ago, the Bryan Singer film with Brandon Routh, and you know, I really liked that movie. I thought it was a nice interpretation of Superman. It was more of a classic interpretation, though, wasn't it? There was a lot of the comic book, I thought, in Superman Returns, and Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. You can't get much better than that. That's my one main gripe with this Man of Steel. There wasn't a lot of humanity in this movie at all, and there was very, very little humor, if any. I don't remember laughing at all in the movie, which is kind of a, you know, kind of sad, really. I know that we don't get to see a lot of Clark in this movie, and you're not going to get to see a lot of Clark being the bumbling, fumbling reporter Clark Kent, you know. It's just not time for that yet in this new series. And I think the problem is you can't relate to Superman as a human, because Superman is, you know, basically a godlike entity, and we can only relate to a character like that via his interactions with the humans that surround him, with his friends, with his family. We can relate to him through their eyes, and we can relate to Clark. I mean, we can all relate to this, you know, sort of bumbling, geeky character that has a really hard time communicating. Although I always laughed at, you know, I mean, his only disguise was basically a pair of glasses and a changed haircut. So, very strange. But, you know, it's Superman. So I would have liked to see a little bit more humor in this. I definitely understand what they're trying to do, though. I mean, Christopher Nolan's producing this, and this is a darker darker Superman. But basically, it kind of relates to Batman. You know, the Batman trilogy, the last Batman trilogy, was so successful they thought, well, you know, they did Superman Returns about 7 years ago, and it was a more traditional interpretation of Superman, a lighter, brighter, sort of American dream Superman, and that didn't fly very well, excuse the pun. So let's get a little bit grittier. Let's get a little bit darker and see if we can make some money out of this thing. You know, there's some scenes that were quite violent in the film. The film's rated PG-13. Definitely wouldn't take the youngsters to it. Just intense. Another thing that kind of bothered me about the film, and it's not anything really big. I just love Michael Shannon as an actor. His General Zod was, you know, was okay. He did what he could do with the script that he was given, but I know that actor has a huge range, and I think that we may have lost out a little bit on that. But like I said, he just did what he could do, and his motivations, you know, were there. But you really have to. Your hero is only as good as your enemy, and vice versa. And Henry Cavill, I don't know much about the guy. I know he's on the show The Two Doors. I think it's called Two Doors. It was on HBO. It's a TV show. And I think he was in the movie Stardust. Besides being like a perfect specimen of a male physique, he doesn't really give you anything. I mean, like I said, he looks like a superhero. He looks like Superman, but he didn't. Besides moaning and groaning and screaming in a couple scenes, you don't see a lot of real acting from him. Again, I love the special effects. There were some fantastic scenes. The carnage that was inflicted on Metropolis and Smallville in general, Smallville just gets creamed in this movie. I mean, it's so funny. Nobody seems to be concerned about innocent bystanders during all these humongous fights and brawls, and thousands of people must be getting killed during these action scenes, but nobody thinks about that. Action was good. Special effects were fantastic. The pacing was a little bit strange. There were some plot elements that were a little out of control, I thought. Some things that didn't add up. But again, like I said with Iron Man 3, this is summer superhero movies, so you have to kind of go in there and just sort of check your brain at the door, which is kind of unfortunate. You know, generally though, there was more to this movie to like than dislike, I will say that. And I think that the reviews have been a little harsh on Man of Steel. If you want to see Superman on the big screen, kind of kicking butt and cleaning the clocks of other Kryptonian super bads, then you're going to dig this movie, definitely. Also, if you like your superheroes with a little darker edge, a little anti-hero in them, you'll enjoy it. But call me a purist, call me an old school guy, but when I think of Superman, I think of the farm boy, I think of Mr. Goody Two-Shoes, the American hero. I kind of miss that, you know. I definitely miss the humor and the Lois and Clark interaction, the whole dichotomy they have there. But, you know, maybe they'll get on with that in the next movie. I know this movie made $1 gajillion over the weekend, so they're going to make a sequel. Maybe we'll see a little bit more humor in the sequel. But check it out. Nice summer entertainment. You can't really hope for anything more than just go into a movie theater in the summer and just lose yourself for a couple hours. So I guess I'm going to give this movie a good solid B. Like I said, the good outweighs